Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to do Green Lantern Dragon Lords from DC Comics, number 1 of 3. I got all 3 of them. This is the first volume. It's written by Doug Moench, drawn by Paul Gulacy, inking by Josef Rubinstein. I need to check. Yes, I did it. This is, I'm not sure if this is an Elseworld. It doesn't say, but it says before Kal Rayner, before Alan Scott and Hal Jordan. I don't know, because we are never hearing from Jong Lee, because there's this guy. So I believe this is not canon, but hey, we gotta dive in and see if it's actually good. So we start here in ancient China, and this is a temple. The temple of where people, let's say monks, praying and training in the art of mysticism. And we have this young lad, and this young lad is Jong Lee. Jong Lee wants to have a word with his master because he has questions, a lot of questions. Basically, Jong Lee is not really a rebel, but he wants to break out of his usual training, and he wants to meditate with the master. And he's asking the master some questions. And he says, is it truly wrong to break ranks to feel personal ambition? So basically, he wants to be more than what he is now. He thinks he can feel and be great and also feel that he's great. But it also conflicts with the teachings, because the teachings, well, I'm gonna go through this dialogue here. He says, so the master says it would depend, Jong Lee, on the ambition being felt. Of course, but is it wrong to feel not different, master, but special? Yes, is it wrong to follow this unbidden feeling, to strive for greatness? The master says, those who become truly great do so only by remaining forever humble. Then is it not possible to enjoy greatness once it has attained? No, because then greatness is lost. And before we get into the story a little bit, the only downside here that I'm seeing is basically the lettering. The lettering is a little bit, wobbly and all. I don't know. It distracts me a little bit here. It's not a big of a deal, but it's not the most fantastic lettering in my opinion. So Jong Lee says, why is it lost? Because gloating is not becoming of greatness. But how can one be both humble and great? It is the only way because it's two ways. Basically, it's yin and yang, where it's all on the same coin, but it's the good and the evil, right? So so the teacher tries to teach Jong Lee that, but Jong Lee is still confused. He just has a lot of questions, and he says, "Those who need forever want, and those who want forever need." Yin and yang. Only by remaining selfless is the self satisfied, all wants and needs fulfilled. Fulfilled by nothing? Just so, Jong Lee, just so. And so he says, how is it, master, that you know everything, right? How should I know, he says. And how should you know what I know and do not know? So he's doing that very confusing master-teacher thing. And then he says, you need to answer my question now. By becoming more? By becoming to more myself? Exactly. By coming to know more than I know. But then if will not the pupil become the teacher? Not in my temple, he will not. Then what is the point of knowing so much? To glimpse how much more is to be learned. So yeah, and it goes a little bit back and forth, and I like that, So it's basically him saying, you need to question yourself, therefore you are being curious. By questioning yourself, therefore you will learn more by pursuing more knowledge. That's what's basically this teacher says, right? And then he says, now let's meditate, because they are the teachers, they are the monks of the ancient dragon lords, all right? And by communing with the going into a seance, they will let's see. Well, I'm coming to that a little bit later because I'm going a little bit too deep into the subject. Meanwhile, we have here a woman that is bathing and wants to get out of here. But then one of these concubines says, hey, you cannot escape because there's guards out there. And she says, that's the reason that I need to get out of here. So she's catching us the son and she's escaping. I mean, she wants to escape. Meanwhile, young Lee, my master has muddled my mind to make it clear, knowing that in the effort to escape confusion, I will banish all thoughts merging in tranquility of communal meditation. So the master says there is not much few of us, and we must dedicate ourselves to, appease to the dragon lords, because even then, the land will be cleansed and, all will be well and all that stuff, right? He says, basically, let go of your personal ego. And that's a theme here, right? And let's do this by channeling our own chi energy into the last few long dragon lords, ancient bringers of rain and life, benevolent protectors of the earth, now dying out in this arid world of darkening evil. And then when they do that, they see a vision, and they go back when the world was clean and peaceful, right? When a lot of dragons are flying, bringing rain to the lands, and when the rain is over, the sun will rise again, making lands fruitful and all that stuff. And he says it was perfection. So yeah, I love this mystical part of this book. So meanwhile, we're going back to, I believe it's Meng Li, is escaping, and the guards see her, and he's alerted this general called Shan, and he says, get 10 guards and kill her, all that stuff. And we go a little bit back and forth to, the temple and the escaping of this concubine. And he says, what are your orders, General? Unless she's the Emperor's favorite, we hunt her down and kill her. Oh, Jade Moon is her name, sorry. And let us not hope it's not Jade Moon, for this night I crave blood. So young Lee is meditating, protection, perfection. They are the same, as one fates the other fates. Mystics seeking to restore a better past, we rise to feed the dying spirits of those who once ruled the sky. Pretty cool. What's her name? Meng Lei. No, it's not Meng Lei. Jade Moon. I'm not sure why I'm saying Meng Lei. Anyway, she's trying to escape, and all these guards are following her. And she's carrying her son, but at one point it's just too much. And she says to her son, hey, I cannot do this anymore. We need to separate. I will protect you. I will go to the other side. I will, distract the other guards. And she's, bidding her farewell. And he also says this crescent moon on his face. Maybe there's something to it, but I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, her son is not happy with that, of course, and well, you can see here what's happening. The concubine fleeing up the hill, get her, cut her in half. And then she is going to this temple, right? And meanwhile, they are just still meditating about the dragons. But then this image is shattered, and literally, right? Like you see that in movies or TV. I love this particular scene that is, glass crashing with this image, and then he's being brought back to reality while Jade Moon is entering the temple asking for help because he is being, followed by the Imperial Guard. And then the Imperial Guard, the general, comes in and he says, nothing will save you, Jade Moon, not even death, not so long as the Emperor chooses you to warm his bed. But then the master comes and says, in the name of the Emperor, you seize the people's land, their wealth and possessions, even their food. You will go too far. He says, you go too far, even in the Emperor's name, when you darken this temple to seize people themselves. But then, General says, yeah, screw it. And he kills him. And he orders his men to kill every monk in this temple. Well, Young Lee is being unconscious here. And I love this shot. This is so classic, you know, when it's face in the sky, fading and laughing. Pure evil. I love that. This is a classic. And also, this is a classic storytelling with a couple of twists here and there. I like that. So Young Lee waking up and he sees that everything is on fire and he needs to escape, but he doesn't feel well because he's still suffering in pain. He says, and he's also forgetting what his mission was. And he says, I remember now. The piercing sounds which roused me saved my life. Now fading in the distant screams of terrorized beauty. The woman called Jade Moon, begging to be saved. That is what I must do, but I cannot. I can only watch as she is dragged away from her last hope. Now, like my past, my whole life, burning to ashes. There's a lot of, how do you say, philosophical-like writing here, and I'm a big fan of Doug Moench. I believe Doug Moench is probably in my top. If he's on my top, he's number one. Everything he does, I like. I'm not sure what it is with his writing style, but it really appeals to me personally. So going back to the temple and the emperor is being, I don't know, called up by this general, and he says, "Hey, why are you waking me up?" So he said, "Hey, we found your concubine," but the emperor is not pleased. He says, "But you are too late. I preferred her." And the general says, "Well, I thought you have many concubines that will satisfy your needs." But then the emperor says, "Well, only she can do that." And he blames the general from, "Hey, if you not can bring me this woman, maybe you should, maybe he's unworthy of his privileged rank of an imperial guard." And he says, "As you say, most exalted emperor, but she's here now, her availability restored, and the child, he was lost." So the child is gone, and the emperor says, no biggie, but he says he can make a claim to the throne of the emperor later. And she says, "You need to find him and kill him." And Jade Moon says, "No, please do not." And she's getting smacked in the face. And he says, "Kill him where he stands," says the emperor to the general. And he says, "Deliver her to my royal bedchamber now." He said, and the general says, "You can kill him. You would do well to forget your son, Jade Moon, and worry about your own smooth skin. Now enjoy your emperor while you can, but know this, someday you will scream in my arms." Again, this is classic. This is classic villainy, classic heroic stuff. I like it. Young Lee wakes up and he sees that this temple has been burned down, and he doesn't know what to do because he's now has no purpose anymore. And he wanders into this village and he is surprised at what happened to the village. Now this merchant, I guess, says, "Well, this is also your fault." He says, "Why? You have been cloistered. You have been blinded to the world beyond your beliefs. I know the world has been darkened by man, by the fading of the dragon spirits." And then he says, "The world has been darkened by one man. It's the emperor, with his increasing tributes and vicious soldiers and tax collectors." And Young Lee said, "I had no idea it was this bad. Because you have been so idolated in your so-called selflessness. In truth, the height of self is stupidity, cutting you off from the real, everything real from the people all around you." "That is not true," he says. "No, every third day for the past 3 years I have delivered your food to the temple, yet you do not even recognize my face." That's powerful, man. That's cool. That's really cool. So he basically belittles him a little. My tongue twister here. He says, "No, I've been focused on meditating and on the dragon's lights. This lad's mystic has been seen precious little light and no magic, not since the current emperor rose to power. But you would not know that. As long you were left alone, you refused to see the truth, blinded by your visions of light and magic. But now the emperor has burned your temple down, leaving you, just like me, just like all of us, without illusions. Welcome to the real world, dragon mystic. Suffer in health." That is so cool. I love this writing. So this young boy, Jade Moon's son, but he doesn't know that. He says, hey, can you help me? I'm hungry. And he says, no, I cannot help you. And he walks away. Maybe we'll see each other again. Then we go to space. So we abandon for a couple of seconds or minutes, seconds, the mysticism side of this book. And there's a green light in the sky and they're searching for someone, right? So people are afraid because they think that the world has come to an end. But Jade Moon says, no, our prayers have been heard. We are being saved. I'm sure of it. And then we see young Lee here and also this young boy watching what's happening. Young Lee wakes up and he says, that light. And then a presence, he hears a voice and this presence talks to him and it reveals himself. And he says, an emissary dispatched on a vital mission to find one of a great gift in the form of great power held by this lantern and its ring. I have chosen you. And so he basically explains that he will, revitalize the energies, ring into the energy to, function and all that stuff. He says, if this is done, the wearer of the ring will possess unimaginable power. I wonder what will happen, right? So this being explains himself that he is, a guardian. And Young Lee says, an emerald dragon? Are you a dragon lord? And he says, no, I'm the guardian of the universe. But also saying that he needs to, battle evil and, do good and all that stuff. But he says, beware. Such vast power holds great temptation for abuse. Do not succumb. Do not become seduced by glory and personal gain. Remain worthy of my choice. The great gift is yours. Now take it. Again, so cool. And he says, a ring, a lantern, a dream? And then the general says, could this be an omen? But an omen for what? Right? So basically, Young Lee needs to prove himself. So he is touching the lantern and he's conjuring things, right? Says, truly, I hold the power of light in my hand. By thought alone, I can shape beauty, blossoming to my wish and will. I can conjure a green gong and clash it. With no rope to my name, I can cast a green rope over any branch of my choosing. And I swing on it as long as I remember to stain my magic. So yeah, villagers come and they basically say, hey, you are a mighty magic user, and basically he's worshipping him. No, please, you will misunderstand. I am no miracle worker. I am but a simple monk, a dragon mystic from the burned temple, a humble ascetic, unworthy of reverence, and hardly an object of awe. But, by displaying his power, it reinforces that he is just more than human, right? And he says, if you are not a miracle worker, then why have you elevated above us? I do not know, he says. I don't know what I'm doing or how am I doing it. I need to get away, think. I need solitude. So he flies away and everybody says, oh, it's just a dream. Now, this is a gloom and doom sentence. It matters not, dream or miracle, he's gone, beyond our reach and nothing but a memory. No longer part of our lives or future. That is so depressing. So this young boy is following him and then he is just sleeping and then something comes out of the ring and that presence looks like Jade Moon. And he says, you must set aside your vow of selflessness to exercise your new power, even at the risk of personal glory, for it's the only way to fulfill your new destiny. But he says, no, go away. You try to confuse me. I will not go down that path. But she says, or it says it doesn't have a choice. And but he says, I cannot break my vow. I cannot dishonor my slain master. And he says, I did not ask to be a hero. But she says, you have no choice. One of heaven's ruler, perhaps even a dragon spirit, have chosen you. You must oppose evil, ease suffering, and protect the innocent. You must obey. I cannot. I tried, but I could not save you then, and I cannot save you now. You are gone? Drawn back into the ring? And what shall I do now? Where can I go? So yeah, a lot of questions. Young Lee doesn't know what to do, and he needs to figure it out what to do, right? And meanwhile, the villagers are being drained by their resources, and then the villagers are unhappy and unrestful, and one of these villagers is saying, hey, if you take it all, there will be nothing for our mouths. And he says, well, then you should starve, says the soldier, and wants to cut him down. But then Young Lee, intervenes, and he uses the power of the ring to apply justice. Looking so cool, man, right? So he says, this power of green light came from above, from the heavens. Only the wicked have cause to fear and flee it. Now be gone. This food belongs to the people. Take it and eat. A miracle. So this young boy comes again, and he says, hey, I recognize you from the other village. I have walked from here all night to following you. He said, what about your parents? I do not know of my father and my mother. She went another way. Maybe you could be my father. She says, well, I cannot. I need to have, fulfill my destiny. But we will meet again. He says, be good. All right, so this is going to be a continuation, right? Meanwhile, the emperor is not pleased what happened in the village, and that his soldiers are being stopped by this mysterious monk with great powers. And he says, after you supervise their execution, talking about the villagers, I want you to hunt this miracle worker to the ground. If this emerald power is false, kill him publicly in the full view of the masses. But if his power is real, bring him here to me. Now go. If the power is real, Emperor, you can be assured it will be brought to you, but it will be wielded by my hand, the hand of future Emperor. Nice. So he goes from village to village, saving everyone from pillaging and raping and all this evil people being punished by his deeds. And his legend is growing, although he does not wish to be it, but he cannot help himself. He needs to do good, right? And but now there is also the danger that he is being corrupted because he feels revered. He feels proud about what he's doing, but it goes against the teachings of his teacher, his being a monk, right? As you can see here. Even if I exult in the glory bestowed upon me, I prove myself unworthy of it. By the end of the week, I am someone else. So he feels disillusioned and he doesn't know again what to do because he's been torn. Then the visage and appearance of his master, although a construct of this emerald ring, says basically, you have broken and dishonored the dragon mystic's basic vow, the vow of selflessness, letting your ego slay your spirit. You must reject the selfless corruption of this urn on glory. But he's dead. Nothing but another vision of green light. But that's not only what's happening. So Jade Moon's visage is also coming, and basically she is going against the teachings of the teacher. He says, he cannot blaspheme by usurping the sacred power of the Dragon Lord. He has no right. He has every right. The power is given to him. It's his responsibility to use it, his duty and destiny. But then he says, be gone. You are nothing but two sides of my own mind at war within itself, giving life and voice by the ring, whether blessed or cursed. So he thinks about that, what he's going to do. He says, I will follow both. Since I cannot decide what the ring is what and what to do, which of the two ways to follow, then I will follow both. I will do both. I will dare the unthinkable. I will behave as the bold legend I have become, but I will not succumb to the power's lure or corruption. So he goes to the palace and wants to free Jade Moon, but not as a mystical warrior, but as a man. So he's burying his ring and hangs up his lantern and wants to go into the temple freeing Jade Moon. I'm not sure that's a good idea, but he's bold. I give him that. So, and this brings us to the end of this volume 1 of Green Lantern Dragon Lord. I think this is great. This is classic storytelling. Let's say it's a little bit mix of mysticism and, you know, old school classic storytelling with a little bit of sci-fi in here. I like it a lot. So we're going to continue the series, people. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about it. Subscribe to my channel and all that cool jazz. See you next time. Bye-bye.